Hey everyone, Shannon Shea here with the Geeking Report. We are still at Phoenix Comicon 2016. Again, it's Sunday, and again, it's crowded with no sign of it dying down. Right now, we are with Steve of Fez O Rama. He has been one of the most popular booths at Phoenix Comicon for quite a number of years. I can't remember exactly how long you've been in business, but we'll throw it over to you, and we'll have you talk about it.
Well, I've been making Fezes myself for like 15 years now, but Fez O Rama's been in business for a little over 10 years. And this is our, I want to say, 4th or 5th Phoenix Comic Con. This was one of the first Comic Cons we did.
So tell me why Fezes, other than Fezes are cool, because we all know that, but beyond that.
Well, I have a background in costume design, and I studied fashion design, and I've always collected hats. And the Fez was one of those just sort of weird, goofy hats that would show up everywhere. Old Laurel and Hardy movies, Marx Brothers. So growing up, I always would notice that, but never, I always thought they were fun. And of course, Shriners. You have all the fraternal orders. So it seemed like a really fun, like, secret society hat. And back in like 1999, for Christmas, I made my friends Fezes. We all had matching Fezes, and we started our own like secret society. And we would go out dressed up, we'd go bowling or out to dinner, and people would either accuse us of being a band or ask us about the hats. Where'd you get the hats? Oh, you make them, do you sell them? So for years, I was just making them for friends and saying, oh no, I don't make them for anybody else. And then eventually I was doing an art show, and we had paintings and embroidered shirts, and we were wearing the Fezes, and everyone kept asking, are you selling the Fezes? No, look at the paintings, I have art here. So eventually it just sort of like became a running joke that just sort of took over my life, became a hobby, became a business, and now it's my full-time job.
And I see that you do a lot of embroidery on the Fezes. Have you seen a change in trend of what people like on the Fezes when it comes to designs, or is it more of what you like to show people, this is what's cool this year, this is what you want in a Fez?
It's definitely, the whole motivation is creativity. So it started as a creative outlet. I was teaching fashion design. I needed a way to express myself that wasn't, I wasn't going to do a whole collection of clothing. I'd kind of burned out on the fashion industry. So I wanted to do something that was just fun, ridiculous, silly, didn't follow seasonal trends, didn't have to follow color trending and any of the other stuff that happens in the fashion industry. So it was just a ridiculous idea for a business. And that's what made it started as a running joke where it was like, this is a horrible idea for a business. I'm just going to run with it in my spare time. And then it just kept growing and rolling along. So it's really about the creativity. So, I have really popular designs that I've retired where it's like, it's been around for 2 years, it's done. Like, I'm on like my 5th or 6th Cthulhu design. And Cthulhu's always been really popular, and people still request like my first one. And it's like, nope, that one's way back when, we're moving on. So it's constantly updating the designs. As far as like the trending, I skewed more towards the nerdier stuff. So I like to reference history or, cultural stuff. And I like to pull up a little bit off of center. So if it's a little too popular, I'm not really interested in it. I like the secondary, stuff. So the fringe things. So there's a lot of that I'll reach out for, but gaming definitely is really popular. So when we do Gen Con as well, and we'll do a lot of gaming designs for that con. And so different cons, I like to bring different stuff to kind of address the personality of the show. So each show I'll bring different things, and we'll change out designs and retire designs. And
what is a funny story or the most outrageous order you've ever received that you can actually talk about?
The most outrageous order. So I did a barn owl design on a Fez because I love animals, and I wanted to do a bird in flight. So it was more of like a study of a bird in flight. So it was really leaned towards the realistic rendering of a bird in flight. So I had done it. I liked it. Some people liked it, but it never really like exploded or took off. And it was a huge embroidery, so it was really time consuming. Yeah. So I decided, okay, it's time to retire this. It takes forever to embroider. We're going to retire it. It just doesn't seem that popular. And of course, people would be like, oh, you don't do the barn owl anymore. And one morning I go to my website and they're all sold. In one order, they're all sold. And I'm like, that's odd. So I look at the shipping address, and it's the costume department for Heart of Dixie. And it turns out in Heart of Dixie, they had a like men's fraternal order that was the barn owls. And I didn't watch the show, didn't know anything about this. So we contacted them and they're like, yeah, we need like a dozen of these Fezes. The director just says, I want one of those hats the honeymooners used to wear. And so we just did a search for Owl Fez and found your website. and they just bought everything. So I ended up making like another batch for them, and of course, then I had to bring them out of retirement because people saw it on the TV show. So that was like the most absurd. I'm like, nobody likes the Barno. I love the design, but no one's buying it. And then suddenly it's on a TV show.
Which is a very cool thing. Congratulations on
Thanks.
that. What convention are you going to be at next? Where can people find you?
Our next show is Gen Con. That's the big gaming convention in Indianapolis. I think it's first weekend of August. It's like the end of July, beginning of August. That's our next show. We have a little bit of a break finally. So we've been running like con to con to con since like March. So this is a little bit of a break, and then Gen Con is our next big one.
A break, always a nice thing, but I imagine you'll be working during that break. So kind of a working break.
Yes, Phoenix is a big show, so we have a lot of Fezes to restock.
And where can people find you online if they want to find more information about you?
You can find us at fezorama.com, and we're also on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Fezmonger on Twitter and Instagram, Fez O Rama on the Facebook.
So you found it here at Phoenix Comicon, Fez O Rama, the coolest Fezes in the nation and possibly in the world. This is Shannon Shea with the Geekian Report, reporting from Phoenix Comic-Con 2016. We'll continue to give you live reports throughout the day. After that, enjoy.